Hi everyone, Daniel Tyler here again. I hope you're all doing well, and I hope you're carrying on with the hard work you're doing on TradingView and your trading journey. Please continue posting on the group. We've got a lot more people posting now, which is great. It's great for us to kind of share what's going on, and it's good to help you out and get feedback on what you're doing. So yeah, keep doing what you're doing. You're all doing very, very well, I can see. Um, I just thought I'd take the time to go through the importance of bringing clarity to your trading, especially in times where you've got so much on your charts and it can look quite messy, as what you'll see on the screen right now, and how you can strip that back, start from scratch, and hopefully this video will kind of show you the benefits on how that can improve both your psychology and actually your trading performance. So I'm focusing on US dollar Swiss franc right now, and I'm doing live analysis on this right now. I haven't really had a look at it this week or this weekend, shall I say, to prepare for the oncoming week. So I'm doing all of this kind of off the top of my head, and hopefully it will kind of outline the the real life benefits of how stripping back your trading and focusing on price action can really help you out. So what I always actually start off doing is I just literally clean everything. I go back to a completely clean slate with absolutely no indicators on there whatsoever. So I just switch to a plain indicator. You guys can just create your different templates on MT4, and it automatically goes straight back to um, starting from scratch basically. So I do that for all of my charts. Didn't have anything on the hourly. So I do that for all of my charts on MT4 and also for TradingView. I did do this slightly beforehand just for the benefits of this video. So what I always start off doing is I go onto my TradingView account. I always start off on the weekly, just like I have done on previous videos. And the thing to always start off doing is looking for channels. That's the most important chart pattern that you can find. The market is always working in channels and moving in waves. So always try and spot your channels first, and that's what I try and do. So I do a quick zoom out just to see if I can spot anything. Looks like we've got a channel closer to the recent weeks here. Okay, so what we can see on the weekly here is that the channel is being respected actually quite nicely, especially this channel resistance up here. And in the last few weeks, we've had a rejection off of that resistance coming down, and we've had over the last 5-6 weeks, we've had quite a lot of movement on the downside for the Swiss franc. Especially going into last week. Last week, we saw an incredibly bearish week with a lot of momentum going on to the downside. And you can see from these weeks here that, yes, it was going on the downside, but they had quite a lot of wicks to them, showing that there wasn't that much momentum, but it was still going on the downside. And then last week, we just had that week to push through this channel support with a lot of momentum. And just by looking at what price action is doing right now, I'm expecting it maybe to come down that little bit further and have a rejection off of this channel support here, rather than it going up and retesting. I mean, there is all possibility for it to come back, have a little bit of a retest before going down again. But I think this is a point where we could see a potential reversal in the market. The reason why I say this is I noticed when I zoomed out is that for the last few years, actually, since 2012, I would say, around this area, we've just been ranging. We've just been continuously ranging, especially since actually 2015. Nothing's really gone on. We're in quite a rangy market. We're not moving anywhere on higher time frames. Just to kind of show that there's not going to be that massive movement maybe to go all the way down to here in the few weeks to come. So I could potentially see a reversal point coming up around here, especially that we're going to be testing, and I think we've actually broken these lows. Yeah, you can see we're retesting and kind of breaking the lows here. And as we're breaking these lows, I mean, we have done that before in previous weeks. So I'm kind of expecting this to kind of have a rejection maybe off of here and for it to kind of go back up. So that's how I'm looking at price action now on the weekly, and not using any indicators to kind of show me what's going on. When you focus on just price action, it's great because I think when we do put indicators onto our chart straight away, we instantly, without even realizing, we instantly focus on what the indicators are telling us, because we're always looking for external factors to tell us what's going on instead of actually figuring it out for ourselves. And that's just human nature, I guess. So yeah, this is what I normally do on the weekly, and then once I've spotted my channel, I'll then just see on MT4, I'll use my indicators just to see if we are in a downtrend at all. Put in my downtrend lines. Not really. I mean, we won't be approaching this for a few years yet, but we can see where the market's looking to go. We've had this trend line break, and the market is looking to range. We could see just more ranging across the years. It could shoot up, but there's an 80% chance that the market will come and hit this point on the chart at some point, basically. So they're not really that useful to me at the moment, as we're in a ranging market and we've got a very, very, very long time before we even reach points like that. So I'll take those off for now. And then I'll put in my weekly levels just to see if we're at any key support or resistance. Yes, as I said here, look, we're breaking these lows here. So the week actually broke those lows. We could expect to go that little bit further down, just like we have done here and here, for it to come back up. We are in a ranging market right now, so I don't expect the market to be shooting off down to these lows. Not at the moment. There's not enough momentum, or there's not enough. The price action basically isn't telling us that in the market right now. The market does what it wants, I guess, and it could come down to here, but probability wise, I'm expecting maybe a rejection sometime soon. Could see a fake break of this level for it to come back up at some point. So that's really it for the weekly for me right now. And then I use the same channel lines from the weekly, and I just pop them into our daily chart, just to kind of focus on the accuracy of what I'm doing. So look here, we'll class that as a fake break. Maybe move this down a bit just to get that extra touch. There we go. There's probably a fourth channel line in here actually. Oh, don't know why I did that. What's I doing that for? Excuse me. Here we go. Yeah, we could say that's a fourth channel line. So we can see on the daily here actually, we've broken through this level. We could well see maybe a pullback to this channel resistance line for it to come back down. But over the next few days, what I'm wanting to see is for price to come down to this level and for it to then come back up again. It's just so we can see a rejection. Price action is telling me that there's been quite a lot of bearish momentum on the downside, just like we said on the weekly, and how the previous week that we've just had has been very bearish. We have confirmation of that here, and it'll be lovely to see some sort of rejection here, because with this momentum going down, and then to see maybe a green candle sometime during next week, it shows that the buyers are coming into play, because having this momentum and it instantaneously coming to some sort of halt shows that the buyers are starting to take control of the market, and that's really what I'd like to see. I would like to see price come down to this level before I start buying anything. But effectively, I'm looking at buys for this. I think there's not enough room for me to get for me to justify maybe a short position going down to here. I want to just be patient, wait for the bounce off this level, or maybe the break of this level, for me to then think about going long. So what I then do, again, similar to the weekly, I'll go into my daily chart. I won't put my channels in on here just for the sake of the video, but I'll pop in my daily levels just to see if we can spot anything here. So we can see here that we are at a daily key level, and we can maybe Monday, Tuesday time, we can even see a day where it goes down and shoots straight back up again, a nice bullish candle. So that's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see price come down, reject, and then just instantly come back up, a nice little fake out of that key level, as we are in that ranging market despite recent bearish momentum. I would like to see that rejection. This kind of confirms it. We're at this little key level. We have broken it in a way, but I don't think we've broken it by enough to think that this isn't relevant anymore. So yeah, I'm still looking for potential upside opportunities for the Swiss franc right now. And that's really it for the daily, I guess. What I usually do is I'll in my own time I'll put in my levels in. I might do that now actually. So we're looking at the 92.723 just to show you guys how I do it. 92.23 daily level, and we're looking at the 92.210, probably around there. The 92.210. Perfect. So we could even see with these levels, we could even see maybe a push down to here. We could even see a rejection off of here maybe for it to even go down that little bit further. But given the context of the market, I mean, we haven't really broken these levels since, well, properly broken these levels since about 2015 time, early 2015. So the probability of it breaking these levels, and I mean, we've had multiple retests. We've tested this level 3 or 4 times already, and we're at that level again. And I think the probability of this breaking, retesting, and shooting down is actually relatively low, especially that we've had that trend line break on the higher time frames on the weekly, which I don't have in there anymore. We've just got to think, well, oh, excuse me. You just got to think the probability of it shooting down to here isn't quite racking up for me. We're in a ranging market. We have been for a few years. For it to retest and shoot down, I just don't think it's on the cards for me right now. I'm looking for upside momentum, and this is how we filter out those trades. And then I go down into the 4 hour. That's enough on the daily for now for price action. I go down into the 4 hour and focus on price action here as well. So again, I try and spot any new channels that I can see what we can find. And always go with the first line that really sticks out to you. And as you kind of put your practice in, you'll be able to find better lines. The usual place that I used to start was right at the top or right at the bottom, but sometimes there's a better line in the middle that you can pick out. But it's worth just practicing your channels because they are really effective in the market. And we can see that this is a really good line here. It's support, 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 support. And we've had a little bit of a break and a confirmation of a rejection there. So I'd actually say that's resistance as well. This is a really good line, really strong reactive line. And it's the same for here. We can see resistance, 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 and on this one, support, support. So I always like to see at least 2 points of contact to define a channel line. Sometime in the early stages of a channel, once you've identified your line, you can have just that one contact point as long as it's parallel. But again, it's not confirmed. It's actually rejected off of that point anyway, but I digress. Going into the 4 hour, we've got a descending channel here as well. And confirming that bearish momentum, we can see we've had a rejection off of this resistance level and going down. What I also like to do is I like to put in my trend lines just to see if we are in any sort of downtrend, which we definitely are. But to be a little bit more consistent in the way that you draw your trend lines, the LTI indicators are great for consistency, basically. So I'll put in my downtrend lines once I've zoomed out, and we can see that these lines have actually been really, really effective. We started off going at quite a sustainable sort of trend down, apart from here, but we had a sustainable trend angle down, for nice, even less than 45-degree angle, I would say. And then we start to get steeper and steeper and steeper. And here is where we're kind of at our steepest. And the steeper the trend goes, the more unsustainable it becomes. And we're starting to become very, very steep now, very unsustainable. So it's giving confirmation that we're at this weekly rejection level and daily rejection level. Could go a little bit lower for it to touch off the channels that we've spotted, but it could go that little bit lower, and it's just giving us confirmation that the market is just going too quick. It's moving down too quickly now, and it needs to revert to its average. So these trend lines are showing me that if this trend line breaks, it's giving us confirmation that this market is heading towards this trend line. And if this trend line breaks, it's heading towards this one, and so on and so forth. So the way that I'd actually like to approach this currency right now is to wait for a rejection off of those levels which we clarified on TradingView, and maybe have a rejection off, or not a rejection, sorry, a break of the trend line here. So what I'll like to do, and this is a great way for you to practice your trend lines actually, I put my trend lines on MT4, and then I try and replicate them on TradingView, and then I just compare the two afterwards just to see if I definitely got them right. And then it gives you a really, really good point of comparison, just to see how well you're drawing your trend lines and if you're being consistent with them in a way. Let me just pop these in. I do like to be as accurate as possible, as I do want to get right on the wick. And from what you can actually see here as well, which is quite interesting, it just shows that channels can be parallel trend lines. This trend line here is actually a channel line too. And sometimes the trend line indicator that has been back tested by Andy, the trend line indicator can help you spot channels. So if you are struggling and if you really can't spot anything by your eye, you can use the trend line indicator sometimes and spot parallel trend lines. Basically, it doesn't work all the time, but it's a great starting point if you can't find anything. Your channel lines may not be the best possible, but they give you a good start. And let me just draw in the last few trend lines here. It's just taking the time to be as accurate as possible. So now we compare these to MetaTrader 4, and they look pretty similar to me actually. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. So I'm happy with these trend lines on TradingView now. So just to clarify what I'm thinking, just by focusing on price action, as we explained, we could see, I'll actually pop this level in just to see if we see any confluence. So this is our weekly dash daily support level, and this is our 4-hour support level. And you can see maybe price looks like it's heading towards this sort of area here. So to have this sort of area, to have price come down to this sort of area, that is actually quite a nice strong buy signal for me. We could see a little bit of an overextension because price does do that sometimes. We could see a fake break, but it will be nice to see a reaction at this level and maybe a trend line break, because at this trend line break we can wait for a retest to then start going long, and we could actually think about trading maybe just the breaks of these trend lines, because there's so many of them. The room for opportunity to make profits on the upside for this is, let's say we enter around this level, we've got this sort of room to make profit. And if we break this trend line and retest, we've got this sort of room to make profit. And it goes on and on. And that's kind of a great way to look at it. I'm looking, this is just giving me confirmation price action wise that I'm looking on the upside now. Once you've put in all the price action stuff that you like to use, I like sticking to just chart patterns, looking at candlesticks and putting in trend lines, as they give you a really good indication on what's going on, and support and resistance as well. Sorry. Then you can start thinking about putting your indicators in. I'll put in my 4-hour key levels first, just to see if we're at any 4-hour key level, which we're not. We've broken that, so there's actually a lot of room for movement on the down and the upside. So we're looking at room for upside at least until the 93668. Let's put that in. Nine three six six eight. Um, 93737. And the 93795. So the amount of upside, the amount of upside room we actually have to make profit is up to this level here. So up to the channel resistance in a way on the 4-hour. There's so much room for opportunity to actually take a buy position around this level or on the trend line break. And we can actually maybe even go up to this level or up to the next trend lines. It's completely up to you on how you want to go around it. But I would quite like to trade the trend line breaks, actually get a few positions in, maybe put in a few Fibonacci's just to get on the pullbacks. But this looks like a nice reversal sort of area. And it just shows that price action can really actually give you clarity on what's going on. If you looked at my charts beforehand, they were just ridiculous. And now we can see where it looks like price is going to go. Just before I do end this video, I will show you how I then use my indicators as a confirmation tool in a way. Price action should always be your leading thing on where you think the market is going to go. And then your indicators should give you a little bit of confirmation, a little bit of confidence in maybe entering a trade, or just giving you that confirmation on thinking, oh yeah, price action is telling me that, and so is also an indicator. So what I do is on the weekly, I'll put in my stock RSI. A good tip is not to just have them as separate templates. You put your template on that you want, and you can just double click and it hides and brings it back. So on here, on the weekly for USD CHF, the stock RSI is really oversold with the percentage D and percentage K looking to cross over, which is a nice buy signal. So we could come down to here. It looks like we're heading up, considering we're in that ranging market. Just for a little bit of reliability purposes, we'll just double check to see if the stock RSI is reliable. It was relatively reliable here. We saw a little bit of an up movement, not too much though, but we did see some sort of up movement. The same here, and then we saw an up movement there, and we saw a little bit of a rejection here as well. So this is semi-reliable in a way, but given the context of the market, I do think we're at least going to see some sort of rejection, at least up until this channel resistance line. As every time that we've seen the stock RSI being relatively oversold, we especially here, look, you can see a little bit of a rejection and then goes down. So we could see a little bit of a rejection and for it to go down as well. What I also like to do on the daily is, again, you can hide your moving averages, which is great. I'll just have a look to see if the 50 and the 200 are anywhere in particular. They're probably not. No, then got a good few days before we even reach those, just to see if they're used as dynamic support and resistance. But I like to use the 8 and the 21. The reason why I use the 8 and the 21 is this is actually a really good example. You can see historically the 8 actually just sticks to price. It's always near price. In ranging markets, we ignore it because it's a trending indicator. But you can see that it's always very close to price. And when price starts to veer away from the moving average, from the 8 moving average, you then start to think whether it can be overextended, and then it has to at some point come back and touch it. And here's a prime example. Look, it's getting overextended from the 8 moving averages. We have a slight pullback here, and it touches it, and it shoots off again. And here's an overextension, and it pulls back and touches it. And then in recent times, in recent days here, we're starting to see that overextension of the 8 EMA again. So I could expect it maybe to be that little bit more overextended down to that level which we've clarified here, for it to then pull back to the 8 moving average. That gives me a really good indicator. We are expecting some pullback relatively soon, and this looks like the point where we can then get that in a way. And then I can go on to the 4 hour, and this is where I like to implement, see if my moving averages are in play, which they're not at the moment. And I also put in maybe like a Fibonacci. I'll put in my Fibonacci here. So as we're in a downtrend, I'll put my down Fibonacci on. And that's perfect. We're actually coming to an end of the Fibonacci. We're very close to completing the Fibonacci cycle here. So that's just giving me even extra confirmation that this cycle of the downtrend is ending in a way. And when we get to this sort of area around here, that's where I'm going to be looking to buy and where I'm going to be looking for upside opportunities. I hope this video has really helped you guys. It's been a bit longer than usual, simply because I've just been doing this from the moment I saw the currency. But I really hope it kind of outlines how bringing back your charts to just being completely plain, and scaling back your indicators and just looking at your charts from a price action perspective can really help you and bring clarity to your trading. If you do have any questions, please feel free to ask. We're happy to help. Post on the group, and I look forward to speaking with you guys soon and hopefully doing another video. Thank you very much. Take care, guys.